actually early. That alone should be a video. Wow. That never happens. Everything's set up in a minute. Get my glue pot ready. I don't know if you can see her. Here she is. She's pretty and she's a hard worker. Hey Dawn. Hi Jackie. Hello Tina. I was on early tonight. So how are you guys doing? Thank you for joining me. Today was our holiday festivities for Enchanted Vine. So I took out my team, aka my retired parents and my daughter, who help with packing and shipping, and Riley helps with delivering and all that stuff. So we had a nice lunch at Yamas in the Rockingham Mall in Salem, New Hampshire, and it's amazing. Like it's like if a Hallmark movie just like threw up in like all the right ways. So they had, I'll share some pictures on Instagram later, or maybe I guess I could do them on YouTube too. But they had over 25,000 ornaments hanging from the ceiling alone, and that doesn't account for like the trees, the wreaths, the Santas. Like it's insane. So if you're anywhere near this area and you want to come up and like just see like the magic, I would absolutely recommend it. Their food is great too. I go there like not during the holidays, but oh my gosh, it's so magical. So I think any of my fellow, designers would absolutely love it and feel like very inspired by it. So for tonight, I am going to be working with our kit from TMI Gifts. So I always love working with TMI Gifts. They are just amazing, super thoughtful, super talented, and then their products are great. Okay, so I know that sounds salesy, but it's true, and I think that you'll be able to tell just like as we're going along, like things really are just like gorgeous quality. So we've been into some of those in-person local stores this year. We have seen some duds. So one in particular, Michael. So yes, looking for high quality products this year was not as easy to source as it has been in other years. So it's great having a place that has pretty much wholesale prices at, a reasonable, it has wholesale pricing, yes, for their beautiful products. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we are going to make a hook for this wreath. So I think, I should have checked, I think there's like 2 kits left. And they come out to, use promo code CARA20, and they come out to be, I think it's $112, but we get a lot in this. Oh, I know, Jackie, it's like, it's amazing. Great place to bring kids to. It's just like every inch of it, like seriously, is covered. That, I don't feel like that's something that you see like in this country. I feel like in Europe, like you might see that, but definitely not here. So I was really wowed by it. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm just making a little hook with my grapevine wire to hang our wreath on. We're gonna use some festive holiday ribbon, and I'm just gonna mark it. Doesn't need to be a pretty bow or anything. We're just gonna tie it in a knot so that we know kind of where our North Star is. And one thing I really enjoy about, okay, so if something looks a little ovally, like I just realized I did this, like all you have to do, and I know it's not like very ladylike of me, but all you really need to do is like squish it and it's fine. Like these things are not gonna break. Like everything on them is kind of made to take a beating. That's why I like grapevines, because again, I'm not the most delicate of flowers, so if I have something that's gonna break easy, it's probably not gonna work well for me. All right, so once we have our wreath ready to go, what I thought we'd do is start laying out some of the greenery, and then we're gonna use this gorgeous ribbon, but I wanted to just get a little bit of the greenery on. So we're gonna start off with the Norfolk pine, okay? And so in this kit, it came with 4 stems of this, and so I was messing around with it earlier just so I don't completely embarrass myself during a live, but I wanted to see if this pulled apart, and it does, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break down 2 of these into smaller pieces, at least 2. I might do it with all of them, but all right. So I took, well, these came apart, but so I basically cut 2 branches off the bottom. And so what I did was, when you have something that's wired and papered like this, you usually can give it a pull and just separate it. So when it's coming to materials, like, things can really add up. So what you want to be able to do whenever you can is to just manipulate the products so that they work for you, that you get like the most bang for your buck, the most mileage out of it, and you still have a pretty product to work with. So now we have just a smaller version, okay, of this. So to start, I'm going to use a combo of zip ties and glue. But to start, I am going to set the parameters of how high and low we're going to go. So this first one, I'm sliding this like right down. Just a little lower. I'm sliding this right down, and so it's not going through the back. Like, there's times when we're going to be designing and things are like going through the back, and then we kind of like clean them up from there. But when I'm zip tying, I like to just have things sliding down the front. Okay, so we're going to be leaving room for a bow. Actually, it's going to be a good sized bow. So one here, and then I'm going to take my second one that looks like this. It's cut up. Hello, TMI Gifts in the house. How are you? I love this kit. I really do. I love all the materials, and I'm like obsessed with the Real Touch Norfolk pine. It's giving me all the winter feels, and like it looks so natural. So whenever I'm working on the lower half of the wreath, I like to slide up at an angle. And like when you're working with grapevines, I mean, I don't really know the history. History is not my strong suit, but if I had to guess, I would say that the reason why people use grapevines for wreaths is because they're super grippy. So if you're a designer, you know like how many sweaters have been ruined, like they get caught on everything, it's dragging other wreaths around. So like when you slide upward, like there's stuff like kind of holding it in. Same thing here, it's like there's still like a little bit of pull. See? So that's why I like from the top sliding down and from the bottom sliding up. So I'm going to mirror this. Very OCD. So when I do something once, it's a good chance I'm going to do it twice. And the benefit of that is my house is always clean and my wreaths are typically pretty balanced. So I'm going to go ahead and take my first brown zip tie and I'm going to slide it through. So you can slide it all the way around. I like to kind of keep it a little bit hidden, so I'm going to feed it through the grapevine. And I just wrapped up my winter workshops, but one of my favorite parts, because everyone doing it, they were like working with zip ties, is like every class somebody would zip tie their wreath to the easel. So it's like they'd get up to like go do something or like talk to me, and like the whole easel came with it. So, all right, so I'm putting one in here. And if you're using zip ties, you want things to be snug, but if you zip tie them like the bejesus out of it, like in the sense of like as tight as you can go, what's gonna happen is you're gonna lose like all of the space you have here to like slide and design with. If you make it like this, is very, very hard because it's just so constricted. So again, we want it snug enough so it's secure, but we don't want to alter like the shape of our grapevine wreath. It's just going to make it harder for us in the long haul. So if you should do it and you realize like, wow, I just made that super tight, just like snip it off and just redo it. I'm going to cut my tails. And now let's see, we're going to take, this came with 4 pieces of this. And I absolutely love this stuff. So let me just see if I want to cut this one up as well. I think we're gonna. Okay, so again, there's like kind of like a break here where there's like 2 parts that you can kind of see are like a little bit separated. I'm just gonna take it and I'm just gonna pull it off. Okay, and what we're gonna be left with are a bunch of like individual branches, and it'll be nice because we can use that to like backfill. It's always good to have some filler, especially around the bow. You never want your bow to get swallowed up, so you don't want to put like huge chunks of anything near it, to the point that it's gonna again get like smushed. So I like to have some lighter greenery that you can put right near it. Here. Hello, Gina. Oh, it all. Oh, ooh, you got more in. TMI Gifts. See all the greenery and florals they got in that you ordered today. I cannot wait because I feel like in the past year, like we asked and TMI Gifts has answered as far as like greenery and flowers. Like it's already expanded like so much, and it just so excites me because it's just beautiful stuff. All right, so I'm gonna take my next one, and you know, whenever again we're working with products, we want them to work the way we want them to. So this stuff is very malleable. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this branch and I'm just gonna give it a bend. Okay. I'm gonna kind of spread these out a little bit too. All right. So I'm gonna give this a little bend so it's following the curve of our wreath. So for my fellow designers, are you guys still doing your winter? Or are you like tapering off? I've seen people do Valentine's Day, and honestly, like Riley and I were out shopping today, and I went to buy like a thing of conversation hearts, and she was like, no, have Christmas first. And I'm like, yeah, it's hard when everything seems like so rushed, but I understand in the world of retail, you kind of have to get ahead of things. So for this, I'm just going side to side. So this is establishing our parameters. So it's going to be about this. You know what? Actually, I want it a little shorter. One rule I always like try and follow is that if something doesn't look right to you right away, like if something like irks you, you might as well just pull it, because I feel like if you keep trying to like make it work, it's not going to, and it's going to take a lot more time and probably product to try and fix whatever it is you're going for. So I'm going to slide this in over here. I like that much, much better. Okay. This is one of those things where I'm like, just trust the process. I had to tell that, like that was like a common theme at workshops this season, was like, trust the process. So I mean, when you have somebody who hasn't done wreaths before, it's just like anything. Like if I had to go and do a ceramic class or pottery, like when you just don't know how to do something and it feels out of your element, like I feel like we almost psych ourselves up like to make it like it's not going to go well. So I always ask people at the beginning, I'm like, how many people think your wreath's gonna suck? And like half the room usually goes up, and I'm like, I got you. One, we're gonna use a recipe that is easy to follow. And then the other thing is that I personally got you. So I do a little zhuzhing, zhuzhing is just that little extra. So everyone who attends the workshop, they've done all the work. Sometimes there's just like that little something that's off, and that's where I'm there to help them. So not everyone needs the zhuzhing. It's nice to know that there is a zhuzhing option, because you know, if you're going to a workshop, you're kind of spending good money, and you want to make sure that you're actually going to leave with something that you're going to use. Okay. Thank you. I asked for my I asked for the sweater for my birthday. My mom's like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "I really want this reindeer sweater." And it came, and my husband's like, "What's the ugly sweater for? Ugly Christmas sweater for? Like, do you have a thing coming up?" And I'm like, "There is nothing ugly about this sweater. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Anything with like sequins and reindeer? Hello." But, you know, a guy's perspective on fashion. But yes, I have been rocking this all day. I have like Christmas tree earrings. Yesterday I had on champagne earrings and lots of plaid. Like, it is the season to be festive. Like, this is like a time of year where you can really like let go. Between this and New Year's, it's time to like sparkle. And he still thinks it's ugly. I was like, it's not an ugly sweater. It's not for an ugly sweater event, but you know. All right. So let me see. We are going to go in. So I wanted to put in some boxwood with this, and the reason why is that I love, like, if you're going out into nature, it's not all pine, and there's nothing wrong with an all pine wreath. I think it's beautiful. I think it's classic, but I really love things that like just have like that pop of like what you would see. Like if I walked into the woods to forage, like I foraged last year, almost knocked myself out trying to cut branches down, but it was a great experience. But you're finding all different things. So you're finding all different tones of green, like different textures. And boxwood is one that, you know, if you've seen like kissing balls or like the urns you can get at like a local nursery, like they typically have something like this in it. So I was thinking like to really make this natural, like I wanted to just incorporate some items that really give it that lifelike feel. All right, so for this I'm gonna glue a little bit. Okay. We're gonna do a little bit of layering because we obviously have a bunch of our Norfolk pine still available. And so, again, just like in the beginning, if I do something once, I'm gonna do it twice. And that way we have like that nice balanced feel. I wish like YouTube didn't put like copyright infringement on everything, because I would love to have like some Christmas music playing, but even when I have birds chirping, somehow they know the birds that sang the song and it gets copyrighted, and then you have to like edit or mute yourself. So it is something. So we end up with ambient music. All right. So let's see, we got some here. I want to go throughout. Here. And this is a great greenery for any season. This is definitely something you can use for spring. Last night I had like a ladies holiday event, and it's for like female business owners. So you either bring, it's a Yankee Swaps, which I love because I love to steal gifts from people. So you either bring something that involves your work or something that helps you do your work, like, you know, whether it's coffee or therapy, whatever it is that you need to get through your day. But for me, I did an arrangement, and because it's so close to Christmas, I didn't want to do something holiday based. So I made an arrangement, and I did white hydrangea, and I did some fern, let's see, eucalyptus, which is another one that would go like so well. Like this eucalyptus or boxwood, either one would work great. And then I did some like cranberry colored berries, and then some like birch twigs. And I wish I'd taken a picture of it, but I do everything last minute, so it was done right before I headed out the door. Shocking. All right. So I'm just cutting this up. And TMI Gifts, I'm thinking this will be available for spring as well. I don't know. I never know what's tied to what season, but for those who are starting to think ahead to spring, which I think in some way or another, I haven't acted on it, but I am like at least thinking about it. you know, if you want to start planning out what you want to get this year with intention so that you have kind of a plan for what you're buying. I mean, it's so fun to shop. My daughter told me the other day that she loves to just fill her cart and then like 2 days later empty it. I'm like, okay, whatever like floats your boat, I'm totally fine with. But I am starting to think of like, what do I want to do for the spring? Like, what holidays do I want to hit? Like, what, you know, what is going to be out there that's at a great price point and it kind of like fits like the image I have in my mind. So yes, TMI Gifts, they will have it. Awesome. This is great. And actually, hold on, I do have a price page. So these faux boxwood bushes are only $4.98. So then you use the promo code CAR20 and then they're $4. And I want to say, hold on, I can actually tell you, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there were 7 stems of boxwood on here. This is a great value. So I'm glad you guys are going to have more of this because I will definitely be hitting you back up for it. All right, so I'm going to put some of this aside. We're also going to be working with some of this sparkly-esque little bit of frost pine spray. But before we do that, I figured let's get prepped our bow and also our bells. So I love these bells. These are the medium size. Medium. They're $6.15 full price. So don't make me do the math on 20% off, but it's definitely a good deal. And when I was growing up, I've said this before, like we had bells hanging on our door, our front door. And whenever Santa left, he always like did one big jingle. And so when it comes to the holidays, like I always just, there's something very nostalgic for me when I hear bells during like the winter. All right, so we're gonna be using this ribbon. So ribbon hack, if you're someone like me that like just hoards ribbon, like I'm a ribbonaholic, you know, nice to meet you. I found these are map tacks. Like say I was gonna go and travel, like these are what you just poke into the map. So instead of having like long pins or things that are super sharp, you can just use these. Got them at Target. I wanna say it was $5 for a pack of like, I don't know, 20. And somebody even more OCD than me, if you can believe it, said that they actually buy coordinating tacks that match their ribbon. So all of their tacks, their map tacks are different. So I thought that was really cool. There's 4 of these kits left. Okay, all right. So this ribbon is absolutely amazing. Okay, so we have like very high quality, very vibrant red velvet on one side. And then we just have that classic green. This is green satin. This is heavy duty wired. This is great quality ribbon. It's 2.5 inches long and it is $12.95 full price. Okay. So, and I think, so what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna make tails, but for this season, I have to say I sold so many bows and they're actually still selling. So, there is a great profit margin to be had on bows. They are not super hard, but it's one of those things either like you know how to do it or you don't. And if you don't know how to do it or you don't want to know how to do it, which is a totally understandable thing, people are willing to pay a good price for like a nice bow. So tree toppers have been like the thing. And if you're like me and you follow the Real Housewives, I sent one to Emily Simpson. So from OC, she's my favorite. And then she also purchased some mantle bows, which are very similar to my mantle bows, but since I do not live in like an OC mansion, mine are a little smaller. I made hers on the 4-inch ribbon, but I'm super excited to see it come together. She has a beautiful 12-foot Christmas tree that she had decorated with like shades of blue, cream, gold. So I did a topper that was blue velvet, and then I did like a lot of like long white velvet, no, satin streamers, I think. All right, so to start, we're gonna make our tail. We're gonna use the Easy Bow Maker. I know, I get super geeked out because I really am like just, I am a fan. All right, so I'm gonna make a tail, let me see. Our first tail, it's gonna be about 1 foot long. Okay, so All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slide it through the dowel, slide it through the other side, and then we're gonna cut it so our tails are nice and even. Now, just like we're starting over, we are going to slide this through the dowel, and I'm gonna make it a little bit shorter just so like we have like a little bit of like extra visual interest. All right, so when you're using your bow maker, you wanna put the front facing side always down, okay? So right now, once I put it through the dowel, I give this a nice crisp twist, okay? So it went from red, crisp twist, now we're only seeing green, okay? And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna make a bunch of 5-inch loops. So I'm gonna measure out 5 inches on the Easy Bow Maker. And there's all sorts of things. Marion came up with an awesome one. You know, like it's to help with ribbon makers. There's several different versions, but yes, Garden Charm Boutique also makes an amazing one, and they will actually put your brand on it as well. Little plug for Marion. All right, so measuring 5 inches, and then I am going through the dowel, and again, I'm gonna twist it. So you wanna make sure that you've twisted it all the way. So right now I'm seeing all green, because if you just kind of leave it like half turned, half not, what's gonna happen is, one, your loops aren't gonna be like really fully closed. Like if you think about, if you make like ravioli, like it has to be sealed, otherwise it's just gonna kind of like break open. So it has to be fully turned over. And then it's also gonna make sure that the center isn't like this big, huge thing. It's gonna be as small as it could be. Okay, so I'm gonna measure 5 inches again. Put it through my dowel, and we're just going to do a series of 5-inch loops. So if I was careful measuring the first time and did it accurately, then I won't have to keep measuring. I'm just going to lay these right on top of the loops that are already in place. Oh my, yes, I am like a bravo. Like my husband said he had nightmares the other day. He's like, that show you watched, and I was like, Mer People? Because I don't know if anybody's seen Mer People, but Mer People is a whole thing on Netflix about the mermaid community. I'm not throwing them any shade. I just didn't know it existed, and it's kind of fascinating because it takes a lot to be like an underwater performer. Like the amount of like training and like safety that goes into it. I just didn't know there was a whole Mer community. So I was like, oh, the Mer People. And he's like, no, it was the Beverly Hills Housewives. He said it was as bad as watching Trailer Park Boys, which if you've seen Trailer Park Boys, I'm like, oh, absolutely not. Do not even say that about these women. All right, so I'm going to go down to 4 inches here. So I'm just looking. Again, I'm just using the little marks on the Easy Bow Maker. Flip it over. Measure 4 inches. Yeah, I mean, there's one night, and is it last night? It's Beverly Hills and then New York. And I'm like, oh my gosh, 2 in one night. And Salt Lake City, oh, I mean, all of it. Like, there's a few that I haven't really gotten into. But everything that's on right now, I'm absolutely, like, loving. All right, so I'm going to go from 4 inches to 3, and I'm kind of like making this up on the fly because as I'm doing it, it's so pretty, like the way this velvet is just like crinkling in the middle, and I actually like really want to have that be like the star of this, because sometimes like you do the button, which is like that center of your bow, but for this I feel like the crinkle is just so pretty. So we went from 5 to 4, and now we're gonna go to 3. Okay, and we're gonna stop there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure my tail so it matches roughly. Southern Charm. Okay, so see, I am not up to date with those. So my favorite by far is Orange County, and it has always been. So I'm not just saying that because of Emily. They're just hysterical. They have amazing lives. Tamara threw a lot of shade this season, but Emily was like on fire this season. Like, oh, you did not want to cross her. That woman is a lawyer. She is smart. She is tough. She's also a very, very nice woman. But like, oh, if you're in the wrong, she will let you know. And she's also like a huge animal advocate, and that's how we connected on Instagram in the first place. Is that like she's always trying to save animals that are on the kill list in her area. Sorry, I know it's not very upbeat. All right, so I'm gonna take this off the dowel, and as I'm doing it, okay, I'm just kind of holding it. I'm gonna slip a zip tie right under where the indentation is. I should have grabbed a longer zip tie. Yes, so that's what we bonded over, because we foster, we probably won't be this year because Bruno's a puppy, but we foster dogs from a shelter in Alabama. We've taken some emergency that are like very close to being on like the euthanized list. So she just has a lot of things that I really admire about her. So that's where we connected. Okay. So here is our bow. Now for this, you do want to tighten this as tight as you can. Okay, and so I'm gonna just trim the zip tie tail here. Now, tip that I learned from Lori at TMI Gifts is what she does, because I was taking chenille stems and like wrapping it around again. But what you can do is once you snip this zip tie, see Lori, I pay attention to you. You can take another zip tie and slide it right under. Okay, and then like say you're attaching this to your garland or to a swag, whatever it is, like this is your second way of actually securing it. So for this, we're gonna put it on a pick, so we're not gonna use that, but that is like a super great trick. I love that. Lori with the iron grip. Like I need like the bow maker because my hands would just like fall off if I was holding a bow that long. That woman is like wrangling, like for real. She is no joke. So if you are not checking out like the tutorials with TMI Gifts, you definitely need to. Whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, like any of them, awesome tutorials. And they're just fun to watch. You can tell like they're having way too much fun. Like that is like a workplace that you want to be at. Okay. So now we have our loops. Just making sure it's even. Okay. All right, so now we have our bow and we have our tails. And a lot of the time I like to dovetail, but I would be remiss if we just ignored or didn't showcase the fact that it has this like beautiful bomb A side of green on this, okay? So I am going to trim this kind of even. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold this up. I think I'm gonna do it wide so people really know, okay? So this is how we're gonna finish our tail. So I'm gonna go through and do each of the tails like that. And make sure that the green part that's showing is even. I'm just gonna eyeball it, but give or take, it should be even. And I'm gonna roll it more than once because there's a good chance that like where you cut, it isn't completely even, or it could like have a little bit of wire showing or something like that. So you want the end to be like super crisp. So you definitely wanna fold it more than once. So my first fold is like very small because I don't wanna waste any ribbon. And then I'm gonna go in with my second one, which is about 1 inch, I would say. Okay, we're gonna go through and we're gonna repeat that. Oh my gosh, I know I love zip ties. Yes, let Lori know I'm paying attention. I'm watching. Yes, and I love at workshops, if I'm like, you know, and if you're not familiar with zip ties, I always explain, I said, you know, like, if you feed the tail through like the big part of the head. I'm like, and you pull. I was like, this one won't even go. I was like, there's just no, wow, this one is like, I don't think you can do it wrong. I won't let you. Hold on. Oh, okay, so like there's nothing satisfying about that. But when you do it right and you feed the tail into the flathead side of your zip tie, you just get that satisfying sound. So I'm always like, ladies, sometimes we have men, but for the most part, I'm like, ladies, if you wanna use a zip tie just to enjoy and get out of your system, I'm like, go for it. Like the more zip ties, the better. And then I have a lot of requests to take some home. I'm like, go for it. All right, so here is our bow. Super cute, super traditional. I love it. And I have so much ribbon left, even though I just made that big bow. And what I'm gonna do is, since this is going to be put on a floral pick, I'm gonna put wire on it. But again, if I was doing something like putting it like directly onto something like a swag or a garland, Lori's trick with like the double zip tie is definitely the best way to go. You won't have to worry about anything coming undone. All right, so I'm just using some floral wire. I'm just gonna twist it. And now I'm gonna take one of my floral picks. Right in front of me, shocker. Okay, and so with the pointy part of my floral pick facing down, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put the top of this stick right up against basically like the center of the back of our bow. And then I'm gonna use the heavy duty wire. So this is, I think, I wanna say 22 gauge floral wire. It is. And I'm gonna take both pieces and I'm just gonna wrap it around. Okay, and why I like to do this on wreaths is sometimes I feel like I end up getting a little bit carried away. Shocking, I know. And then the bow kind of gets swallowed up, and I don't want that. So we're gonna kind of do this flat. All right, so I'm gonna dip this into our glue. I'm gonna slide this down so it's like right around the halfway point. And I like how you can kind of just see like on the inside, like those little like hints that there's that green underside. We get all of our tails going the same way. Okay, so with me, when it comes to glue, as it comes with a lot of things, I have found that when I'm like, just like going, I sometimes spill glue on bows. Some bows are more forgiving than others. Velvet is never gonna forgive you, okay? So I'm gonna just take this, I'm just gonna tuck it backwards to get the tails out of there. It's like your ex that just won't let go. It's never gonna forgive you. All right, now we're gonna go in and we're gonna start putting in our frosted elements. So we have this beautiful piece of frosted pine, okay? So it's got a couple pine cones on it. It's got different types of pine on it. And just like when you have your artificial tree, you're just gonna take the branches and you're just gonna spread it out. You wanna get the most out of your product. So if you wanna get the most and make it look most natural, you're gonna do like some fluffing, okay? And like you can see what the difference is between like something that's been fluffed versus like something that's a little stiff. We're gonna spread this out as well. Super pretty. And like the sparkles are not going everywhere. Like sometimes there are things that just like as soon as you touch it, everything is covered. Like it's adhered very well to the pine. So I'm gonna take my first piece and I'm gonna go above my bow and I'm gonna slide this down. So I don't want my pine cone in the way. Let me not make it too low. Okay. And then we have some pieces kind of bending forward, which we don't want. So everything's super malleable, very wired. So just take them and just kind of like put them as you see fit. I'm going to take another zip tie. And again, I'm just going to capture part of that stem with part of the grapevine. Doesn't have to be all of it. And we're just going to zip tie snug. Steve is yelling at Bruno something fierce. My daughter and I were just comparing photos of Steve from like just a few years ago when he was like, just like no braids, just brown, like big eyes, sweet dog. And now he's just like, he's such like a rage machine. He is all gray. His eyes are like, look very suspicious. He has really done a number on himself. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and repeat. So at an upward angle, we're gonna go ahead and slide this up. Okay, we're gonna take another brown zip tie. And again, we use brown just so it blends in. We always wanna hide our mechanics. Nobody needs to know how the sausage is made. They just wanna see a beautiful wreath that looks natural. There we go. All right, so now we're gonna go through and we're just gonna backfill with some of our greens. And I had a hard time deciding like where the bells would go because they could go in so many different places, but we'll get to that. All right, so I am going to just dip in my glue pot as I go, and I'm being very mindful of the velvet and the bow. And I know people have like a floral pick machine. I have one that I bought on eBay and it didn't come with a weight, so I haven't used it yet. But this is also something like if you wanted to pull these off and put a steel pick on it, you could, but it's also okay without it. We got options here. So just nicely filling in around it. I want to make sure that none of our grapevine is showing, including also like the stems of our pine. Like here you can see the entire stem. Go in and cover up all of that, all the mechanics. Got myself with that one, didn't I? Okay, and then we're just gonna round this out and see, like, make sure that we have a balanced shape and feel. So like right now, obviously this side's a little neglected. So let's go in near our bow. Slide this right in. Okay, so you can put a nice like framing around it. Up. We're gonna have one from the lower part. Go. And then I want something, a small piece of something. So I'm actually gonna trim one of these boxwood branches. And we're gonna slide this guy right in here. One on the lower part. I'm gonna trim a second one. I'm so glad you like it, Lisa. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday night. You know, this time of year is just busy, busy, busy. For our networking event last night, the owner, we have a self-serve wine bar in New Hampshire, like live free or die here. And the owner is she's just a genius. But every time she hosts, she gives us like a really funny tote bag. And this one had like, looked like an 1800s, like it was like an arm holding a glass of wine. And it said like, I want to cry, but I have to do. And I was like, so many people are like, that's exactly it. Like, I want to cry, but there's no time. So I feel like there's always a lot of pressure this time of year, but it's like, you just gotta enjoy it. And I feel like when you have like little ones, the pressure seems like, could feel like more, but like for them, like they just know there's like magic. Like they don't have the same expectations that we think they do. Like when I must have been like 4, and this was by far my best Christmas ever. I came out because one of like a reindeer's antler hit my window. Like I saw like the antler and it banged on my window, and I was like, oh my gosh, Santa came. And so I went out and there was this whole spread of strawberry shortcake, like a strawberry shortcake toy box, a bunch of the dolls. Like it was amazing. So in hindsight, could it have been wind at a branch? I have no idea, but I just know like 4-year-old me like knows what I saw, and I know what that felt like. So we all have to just enjoy the magic of the season and less about the stuff. I'm telling you, the stuff isn't fun. Like getting links to everything, like oh, I'm like it just sucks the fun out of it. I like being surprised. Hey Brenda, I'm glad you made it too. I'm telling you, Jackie, it's like it's what you believe. And I love it. And you know, when I got older, I felt like that kind of went away. And then when my daughter was little, I got to see it like all over again and like make and enjoy the magic with her. So for everyone with little ones, time goes by so fast. I know that sounds so cliche, and I remember when people would say it, I'm like, yeah. But it really does go by very quickly. My baby's getting ready to head to Ireland for an entire semester right after the new year. And so I'm gonna just try and like enjoy and like be as relaxed as possible and just make the most of our time. And then I'm gonna try and like finagle my way into a trip to Ireland to visit her because she's gonna turn 21 and we won't be together. It'll be our first time not having a birthday like spent together. So yes, but she's very excited. It does go by so quick. So I'm like, oh, this is why I can tell like grandparents like go so buck wild. It's like because they've been waiting. And believe me, I'm waiting, happily ready to wait for grandbabies, but like I can't wait till they come because I am gonna be that grandparent like my parents who like gave Riley chocolate like in the middle of the day before dinner. I always tell her like, you know, Kiki and Papa, like that's my parents' names. I'm like, you will never know my dad because my dad was not that guy. He was very, very different from the Papa that you know and love. Very different as grandparents. I know we have some ladies in the group who are grandparents, and you can just tell like they love taking like their days to go and spend time with their grandbabies, and I'm like, oh, so amazing. Okay. So we've got our greenery. I got a little lost. Just pull him out. Everything's nicely balanced. All right, and now we have these red berries. Okay, and I love these. You can definitely use these several different ways. You can just put them in as is. So not only does it have, like the little like ice crystals on it, it also has these red glitter twigs. So you can put it on together, you can pull it apart, use them differently. So what do I want to do? That's the question. I'm gonna break them up. So again, like when you have like this paper and the wire, you just pull. So now I feel like we're working with like two different elements. So I'm gonna do that for all of these. Turn her down. Yeah, does everybody else kind of like manipulate your materials like this? I bet people do, because I think what's interesting about people who like design and craft is like people find their own way to get to things, but like a lot of the time they're very different, but they work. Like there is no wrong answer to get like the same final result, and I just find it fascinating. That's why I like watching other people design, and I love to like listen to just like how people like what their process is. Because really, I mean, I think for the most part, like we're doing this stuff like on the fly, so always curious. Get this stuff out of the way. Okay. Bruno has mastered the herding ball. So if you heard what just sounded like a Mack truck running into my house, he finally mastered his herding ball, which is good because he pulled up literally like our whole backyard is turfed because last year we had 5 dogs plus the foster, so we had like up to 6 dogs at a time, and it was just impossible to keep any grass growing. So eventually like we decided like let's just like bite the bullet and get turf, and we have had that turf. It's been several years and we've had no issue, and he came and he went to every corner and he was like pluck pluck. So the people who provide the turf surface, they call him Hercules because they had to come out like 3 times in a row to try and find methods that would deter him. I was like, he's just a baby. That's all they say. Like people, like if someone gets frustrated with him because he takes his giant blockhead and he like swipes the table clear of everything, I'm like, he's just a baby. He's just a really big baby. He's got a little heart of gold. He just doesn't know how big he is. The pink glue pot is, so it's Grace Monroe. It's from Surebonder. I don't think they have it on Amazon though. They might now, but they didn't before. So I do have it linked in Linktree, but you can also just go to the Surebonder website and look for it. But the green one, which I like the green glue pot, but I feel like this one, of course, she's got a little sass to her, so I love the way she looks on my workbench. But also, I feel like her temperature control is a little bit better. I feel like if it starts to smoke, it's easier to like slow it down, or just like ramp up the heat slowly so it never smokes. I mean, at some point, I think things might smoke, but I also use the Surebonder glue pellets. Like with my glue gun, I use the Gorilla Glue, which I think is fantastic. I don't think Gorilla Glue makes pellets. So I really like the pellets, and like I think this year even Surebonder like changed their formula because I've like put something in a design and tried to take it out like I don't know not even a minute later, and I could not get it out without like really ripping things apart. There used to be a little bit more like time and like grace to pull it out, and now it's like it is, once it dries, it is solid. So I think that they have increased whatever it was in their formula, and it's like even more securing than it was before. These berries are so pretty. Hey Cheryl, I'm so glad you got to join us as well. Always nice to see our friends pop up. And so we have our YouTube membership group, which is gonna, I don't know, there's gonna be some changes to it, but despite that, we did a challenge. We've been doing a challenge like every month, so it was like, you know, a fall challenge, a Halloween challenge, and for December we did like part 2 of a winter / Christmas challenge, and one of our members, Diane, won. And you can choose, like, you can get a gift certificate to your favorite craft store, Amazon, whatever. I can do an Etsy shop review for you. I can do a Zoom call with you. And we did a Zoom call the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, it's so awesome to like actually be able to talk to you guys and like learn about like where you're at in your journey, see your designs, see your Etsy shop. Like I try and like get to see everybody's, but I don't always. But it was so nice spending that time with Diane. So Diane, if you're watching this on replay, or if you join us tonight, I really enjoyed it. So she's very talented, and she's just an awesome lady. It was so great getting able to actually connect with her. Where should this last one go? Sometimes I'm working up close, so it's like until after when I actually like take a step back, which is kind of an important thing to do. Sometimes I need to make like alterations. Like in the workshops, in the in-person workshops, I always give people easels, and they're just like the monument easels. You know, you can get them at Michael's, you can get them at if you have your business ID, you can get them at Joann's in bulk. Actually, you can get them through Michael's in bulk too, but because I like people to be able to actually like stand back. All right, so since we broke up our berries, we now have these like super cool red glittery twigs, and I am here for it. So let's put one up here. And I feel like this is an element that like maybe would have just kind of like been in the background if we had left it. And now it's kind of going to get a little bit of center stage.
You want to hear it?
No, and stop selling me stuff. I don't want to say her name because if you have one of her in your house, it's going to trigger it. But oh my gosh, she's always trying to sell me stuff. Like, oh, upgrade your music. Oh, this is on sale. I'm like, hello. I don't need any help doing impulse shopping with you. I've done enough damage. All right. Oh my god, I absolutely love these. I love that they were separated because I feel like they're such a pretty element. Yes. Okay, so now we can kind of put our tails in place. Oh, now she's not going to play the ambient music because she's mad at me. Okay, I'm going to get my tails all facing forward. And then our final thing is going to be the bells. And I really kind of like went back and forth on where to put them because there are a lot of options for them. I decided to hang them from the top. And let's just see. See if I stick with that game plan. All right, so we've got our little tails. Super cute. And again, this is why like you want to use wired ribbon because it can take that shape And also if it gets smushed, you can kind of bring it back to life and reshape it. So not all wired ribbon and not all ribbon is equal. Some, even though they're wired, the fabric might not be as sturdy. But this stuff is sturdy. This is amazing quality. Okay, so these beautiful bells, they're medium size. I had a few. Oh my gosh, I might change my mind. I was gonna do this, but now I'm kind of thinking this. Yes, okay. A woman's prerogative to change their mind is fully activated. I'm so glad you like it. Thank you, Cheryl. Sherry. Is it Sherry? Oh my gosh. I'm not kidding. Like, getting old and needing readers is like no joke at all. Hey, Meredith. Nice to see you. I'm glad you could connect. Okay, Sherry's saying, and sorry about the Cheryl thing, Sherry. Please forgive me. Sherry found some frosted pink hydrangea at TJ Maxx and decided to use them in a Valentine's winter wreath. I love that. I was talking to somebody, it was Diane. She took some like pinkish flowers and she flocked them and they look gorgeous. And so she's gonna do kind of like something similar where, because Valentine's Day, there's still like snow on the ground. Okay, so I don't even know why I untied that. So glad I did it to both of them because we're gonna use zip ties. I mean, I remember we did a Valentine's Day in like the North End in Boston and it was a blizzard. And so I was wearing like a cocktail dress with like my hunter boots, my knee-high hunter boots. It's quite the look, but yes. A lot of places are dealing with snow for February. All right, so let's go in and we're gonna put our first one here. You just never know which way the wind's gonna blow with these things, but I also didn't plan on doing the bow like this, so. Feeding this through. I definitely need this to be much, much higher. I wonder. I'm gonna grab a couple long zip ties. Just a second. All right, yeah, I think I'm gonna remove the rope. Even though it's cute, I think I just really want the bell to be showing. Oh, no, we're gonna leave this on like so. Okay, so I'm gonna take the rope. How was I gonna make things harder than they needed to be, really? So I'm gonna take this rope, I'm gonna tie it right around our entire grapevine. Tie that knot twice, nice and tight. Okay, so now we have our first bell. And then for our second one, and I love how like this looks like aged. Like I love all the details on this. It's super, super sweet. I'm just all about like nostalgic Christmas. Like I love modern twists on Christmas too, but I don't know. I feel like an 80s kid. Like I absolutely just like these are things that just feel very nostalgic to me. All right, so let me go around here. And Tie this over here. So we'll knot it, and I'll probably add a little glue just because. All right. So here we have it. Here is our classic winter wreath. And what I like about this too is it doesn't scream Christmas. It can, but it's also something that is like festive and can stay up longer, as opposed to, you know, when things have like ornaments and Santa on them and all like those beautiful things. So let's see, do a little extra bow fluffing. Let's reposition some greens. And I'm sure I'm going to fiddle around with these tails a little bit, but there you have it. So there are 4 of these kits left. They are, the full price was like $200, and then they discounted it because they're amazing with their wholesale pricing. So it's like $113. And then if you use promo code CARA20, it's another 20% off. I'm so glad you guys like it. I know. I am so happy I did this versus what I was going to do, Sherry, because it actually would have looked kind of imbalanced, and now it actually like is worked into the bow, I mean, very well. And like it's so cute. It's even got like the sleigh bells, so it's nice that that part shows. And they have these in like small, medium, and large. I'm so bad with spatial things, so I really didn't know what size they were going to be. They're bigger than what I thought, but they're actually like perfect. All right, so yes. So there are the 4 kits left, and you can use the promo code for anything. So say you just want to, you know, focus on like the boxwoods, or you want to start looking at like the florals and their Valentine's Day ribbon, like any of those things, it's your entire purchase is 20% off if you use the promo code CARA20. Okay, and nobody loves that promo code as much as I do. I love going in there to see all the new things. They have new things coming in all the time, and the pricing is already fantastic, and then you slap a coupon on top of that and it's like even better. So go big or go home. Amen to that. Awesome. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Gina. All right, so this is it for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I always appreciate when you guys hang out and come on and say hi. And for TMI Gifts, I am forever grateful that 2024 connected us, and I'm so excited to see what we're gonna do in 2025. So I hope you guys all have a great night, and if we don't chat in between, have a happy holiday, and we'll be chatting again soon. Bye.